More than 3 decades. That's how long Mountaintop Media News Director Ralph Davis has been a journalist. But his true tenure began years before that.
I guess growing up it was pretty evident which way I was going to go. I began reading the newspaper pretty much around my middle school years. It started off just being interested in the high school football team, wanting to see, well, those were the days that Haywood was coaching Prestonsburg, and they were always on their way to the playoffs and always one of the top teams in the state, and I always wanted to see what the newspapers were saying about them. And from there, I had a fascination with politics, and I would start reading that. In presidential election years, I'd take 3 newspapers a day with me just so I could see what everybody was saying about every candidate. And still, when I graduated high school, I thought I'd go to college and then law school. But I changed my mind on law school pretty much at the very end of my college career, and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do after that. But I knew I could always write. I'd won awards in school as a writer. I was always told by my professors that I was a good writer. So I sought out a newspaper job and haven't stopped since.
Are you due for an upgrade or just ready to switch and save? April's the perfect time to get more for your money. Don't miss out. Visit your nearest Appalachian Wireless retail location or shop online at AppalachianWireless.com, because we are you, we are Appalachian Wireless.
In his late 30s, the health-conscious Davis thought to better his physical well-being and looked to one of his favorite pastimes growing up in Prestonsburg, cycling. But he doesn't go at it alone. His dog, Mishto, gives him plenty of company.
Well, in news, I've always had a strong interest in health, especially looking at when they release the county health rankings every year. And Appalachia's always near the bottom in a lot of categories that we shouldn't be. And I found myself guilty of many of those same things. And so about the time I was, I think I just turned 38. And I stepped on the scale and I was shocked at how heavy I was, and I knew, I'm going in the wrong direction. And pretty soon I'm going to be 40. I started looking at ways to try to help my health. And from there I went on to, I experimented with a couple of different things as far as exercise went. But then I remembered I always loved riding my bike as a kid, going all the way back to when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I got an Evel Knievel bicycle for my birthday.
News director, managing editor, associate editor, and reporter, Davis has worn many hats in the world of news around the region, but he has one place he now considers home.
I worked in newspapers for 23 years, and one day a fellow used to work here by the name of Al Greenfield, a lot of people probably would remember, called me up out of the blue while I was working at the Floyd County Times at that time. And he said he wanted to meet me for breakfast and just talk about some things. And he told me about how they were starting a television station here in Pikeville. They wanted to start a news program, and they were looking for somebody to lead that. And he said, I wasn't picking up on the hint, but he kept saying, do you know anybody who'd be interested in that? And I said, let me think about it. And I called him back the next day. I went home and I was thinking, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard of, and I want to be a part of it.
Luckily for us, Davis says informing viewers and readers to the best of his ability will never falter. Reporting for Mountaintop News, I'm Sheldon Compton.